Hello, this is Mara Jade, and even though I know the hot topic of discussion this week is inevitably going to lead to the third installment in the Disney Star Wars films, I decided to instead binge watch The Witcher, which also premiered last Friday, December 20th, and give my review of season 1 for the show. Overall, I very much enjoyed season 1. Some episodes I even loved, in fact. I thought it did a very good job setting up what could be multiple seasons for the Witcher series. Because I think the books themselves, I think there are five. I want to say total. I began reading the first one not too long ago and couldn't get into it, not because it's a bad book or anything, but because school started and that took away most of my free time. But I thought, like with the first book, this did a very good job in setting up world building. To go into the positives, the cast, from the main characters to the supporting cast, I thought did a very good job. You have Henry Cavill as Geralt, Anya Kalatra, I think is how I pronounce her name, as Yennefer on the left, and on the previous picture, Freya Allan as Ciri, who was on the right. I thought all three, for their respective roles, did a very good job. And even the supporting cast, I thought, did very good jobs as well, because you even got to a point where I empathized with a lot of them, and they weren't just there to bolster the main characters. You actually felt for them overall, for the most part. Secondly, like I said at the beginning of this review, is that it does a good job setting up the as a foundation for the world building for this hopefully a decently long running series, because there is a lot of material to work with, because this show is based on the books, and if you're going in thinking it's going to be based on the games, you might be disappointed a little bit. I never played the games. I really want to play them because I've been hearing good things about them, but there's, as I said, plenty of material that they could build so much in this series. And even in the first few episodes, it touches on a lot of locations. So you kind of do have to pay attention, but it still does a good job of separating them. And it doesn't exactly feel like it's all one location at all. Third thing I would like to say as a positive was with the creatures themselves. I thought those were very good. The CGI was for a Netflix series was very good, and I say creatures because even though I didn't finish the first book, part of the emphasis in at least the stories within that first installment kind of placed emphasis on the fact that not all monsters are evil, and sometimes the worst monsters are humans. So there really isn't a simple black and white story or anything like that. There's a lot of gray area, and I think that this show touches nicely on that as well, where it's not, some of the monsters are evil, some of the monsters are uh, overall good, and some of them are in between. You don't know, could they be good, could they be evil? You have to really pay attention to the story, and that kind of goes into a sort of a negative, more like a more, sort of a negative, and that is that the timeline is not a linear timeline. So unless you're kind of used to it, as I am kind of by reading most of the first book, it does jump back and forth. So it's not linear. It doesn't go from point A to point B to point C. It jumps. So you really have to pay attention in the first three episodes to figure out, okay, which events are taking place before these events and which place are taking place last. And once you figure those out, it makes it easier to follow the storylines as they progress from throughout the first several episodes until finally they begin converging near the end of the season. So I thought it's kind of a negative, but it doesn't take away from the season as a whole. Second negative, people are wondering if this season or show is woke at all, and a little bit yes, mainly no. A little bit yes being the some of the lines of dialogue you could possibly see. Okay, I see a little bit of an agenda in those lines of dialogue, and most of it is centered around the character of Yennefer, but it does not at all get emphasized, at least or at least in a way that it affects the characters. So, for example, even though there's a little bit I can see of like feminism in a way tied to Yennefer's character, it does not take it all away from Geralt's character. It doesn't weaken him. It doesn't make white man bad or anything like that. It doesn't do anything like that at all. That's why I said overall no. I did not see nothing overly woke about this season. So I'm hoping that they are smart enough and sane enough to realize this is what you need to do. Respect the lore. You might have a little bit of politics in it, but it should not take away from the story or the characters, and that I think it does a I'd rather not see politics at all, but it does not take away from anything in this season. Third, more like a gripe, is that while the creatures themselves are very well done as far as the makeup effects and CGI, the blood in some of the battles, at least early on in the season, do kind of look fake. So it looks like they put a lot of the budget into the creature effects, which is understandable, but they kind of forgot about, well, you have these battle scenes, you have these fight scenes, and the blood looks fake in some of them. But it doesn't take away from the story at all. So, like I said, overall, I very much enjoyed this season. I would love to see the stories progress into the second season. I would love to see where they take these characters, where they go, other locations brought in, other characters brought in, and so forth. Oh yeah, one other slight negative is that of the supporting characters, the only one I'm on the fence about that I'm not quite liking is the actress, the character of Triss Merigold. She's a mage. She's introduced in episode 3. I don't exactly want to say it's the actress's fault because it's the material she's given to work with, but I'm not exactly impressed with that character. But overall, that's like a gripe. Some people might watch it and not have any problem with her character. But anyway, let me know down in the comments. Did you see this show? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it on social media. This is Mara Jade, and I'll catch you all on the dark side. Later.